In this video, I'm going to show you how you can install Google Analytics with the help of Google Tag Manager onto your website. All and more coming up. Hey there, Measure Geeks, Julian here, back with another video. Today we want to talk about how we can install Google Analytics with the help of Google Tag Manager onto your website. Now, this is a beginner tutorial, so let's jump right into it. Here we are on our demo shop where I already have Google Tag Manager installed. If you don't have Google Tag Manager installed yet, then check out our tutorial down below, which will teach you just that. If you are not sure if you have Google Tag Manager installed, then go over to your Google Tag Manager account and click on Preview. This will put our browser and only our browser into a special state. And if you go back to our page and reload our page, then we should see our Preview and Debug console down here. This is only for us on our browser right now, and we can see all the different tags that fire on our page. In our case, there is not yet any tag, but if you would have a Google Analytics tag, you would see it right here. The next step that we now made sure that Google Tag Manager is installed is to find out our tracking ID of Google Analytics. Now, another prerequisite is that you have a Google Analytics account. If you don't have one yet, you can sign up for free. And then inside of the interface, you can go down to this cogwheel where it also says admin section. And then under the admin section, under your property settings right here, we'll go to tracking information and then tracking code. Now here you see the tracking code that needs to be deployed on all the pages of your website in order for Google Analytics to do page view tracking correctly. We will not use this global site tag that is deployed maybe on your website. We will deploy everything through Google Tag Manager, and therefore we just need to have the tracking ID up here. So copy the tracking ID, and then we can go over to Google Tag Manager. Here in our Google Tag Manager account, we now want to create a new tag. For that, we'll go over to Tags, and then click on New once it loads right here. And we'll go first with tag configuration, and then we'll see all our different tracking templates that Google Tag Manager provides. So we don't have to implement any kind of code. We just choose a template. For us, it would be the Google Analytics Universal Analytics template. It will give us some fields to fill out. Now, the first field here is the track type. What kind of interaction do we want to send over? In our case, it would just be page view tracking that we want to deploy on all the pages. And then we'll choose our Google Analytics settings variable. Now, this is where we would put in our tracking ID. If you already see something here, you might be able to use it, but we don't have anything here. So we'll go with new variable. And then in this new variable, we can put in our tracking ID, or copy tracking ID right here. You can leave all the other settings untouched. Now you just give it a name. In my case, I usually just choose the same tracking ID right here. So if I have multiple tracking IDs and multiple Google Analytics settings variable, I would be able to identify this right away. So I'm going to save this. And now all we need to do is to define a trigger. Now, trigger defines when you want to actually deploy this tag. You can choose to deploy it on all pages or only on certain pages. As we have already said, we want to go with all pages. So I'm going to click on this field here, and we have a predefined trigger that we don't really have to change at all. We just click on it, and it will give us, and now is now attached to our trigger, our tag, and this trigger is the all pages trigger, which will fire on page view. All right, now all we need to do is to give this still a name. I usually choose the tool, so Google Analytics, what kind of tag it is, a page view tag, and then the scope of all pages. I'll save this, and we have it nicely named here in our tag list. So this is in here, and now we can test this all. We'll go through the QA section. So we'll refresh our preview and debug mode right here, and then go over to our page directly back and reload. And now we should see in our preview and debug mode, yes, our Google Analytics tag fired. And if you go to another page, for example, well, this is the same page, it should fire again. So we're making sure it's firing on all the pages, and you can do spot checks and go through your website in order to see this. Now, the tag has been deployed. Has it actually had an impact on the tool itself? Well, there are two ways to make sure to go through the chain, so to say. One is to use an extension in Chrome called the Google Tag Assistant. Right here, we can see inside of the Tag Assistant which tags fired, Google Tag Manager, and then Google Analytics. Don't worry if this is blue and not green, non-standard implementation. Well, the Tag Assistant doesn't quite recognize Google Tag Manager yet. Hopefully they will fix this. And here we see that Google Analytics, the page view request has been transmitted. Now the ultimate test is obviously, was it received by the tool itself? And that is something we can see in Google Analytics itself by going into our reporting section here under real time. And we have different reports here. I'm just going to go with the overview report. And here we should see any kind of interactions that happened in the last second. So we already see here, I was on product category music. Now, if I just go over to the blog, for example, you hopefully see another page view in a second. This can take a few seconds. If you don't see anything here, that might be because your account is fairly new. It might also have to do something with your tracking implementation. There could be something wrong with it as well, or any filters that you might have installed on Google Analytics. So definitely make sure to check this. This works all right here, and we should also be able to go to any kind of other website on our site on our website, and the page path should change, and we should see another page view here right now. So this seems to be working just fine, and we have deployed Google Tag Manager correctly with Google Analytics. Now be aware that this is not yet live on your website. It just fires for you right now because we are in a special mode, the preview mode. This deploys only on your browser. In order to take this live, you need to publish a version. And for that, you go back to the page here and click on the submit button. And then you'll enter a name for your version where, for example, you have changed something like edit Google Analytics page view tracking. And then we can publish this. This will put in another version for us. So we are on version 3 because I've done some testing. But you can go back to any kind of other version if anything went wrong. Now, if I go back to the workspace here and leave my preview and debug mode, on our page should, when we reload this, not have our preview and debug mode anymore. But inside of our Tag Assistant, we can still see that Google Analytics is deployed correctly. And also inside of Analytics, we should see a new page view. And that's how you can deploy Google Analytics via Google Tag Manager. All right, this is already it with this little video. Now, I sometimes get the question, what do I do with any kind of implementation that I've done beforehand? So if you have any kind of Google Analytics plugin installed on your WordPress site, for example, or you have the actual G tag or Google Analytics tag inside of your theme files and it's still there. Well, now we are deploying our tracking through Google Tag Manager, and we wouldn't necessarily need this implementation anymore. I would actually urge you to check whether the Google Analytics tag fires twice, because that could mean double tracking. And then you should get rid of your hard-coded implementation of the G tag or of the Google Analytics tracking script that you might still have on your page. Everything should now be deployed through Google Tag Manager. This is already it with this video. If you liked it, I'd love a thumbs up. If you don't like it, 2 thumbs down. And if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments down below. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then I'd love for you to subscribe to our channel right here and also check out this video right here, which is also pretty cool. Now, my name is Julian. Till next time.